Well, hello again. Let's talk real quickly about your persuasive speech and some of the things that you need to know about the persuasive speech. Number one, it was called a persuasive speech, and when I received speaker notes and outlines, many of you called it something other than persuasive. It baffles me that you didn't know the name of the speech you were supposed to be giving. There's a couple of general comments. A persuasive speech, according to what you were instructed, was to persuade your audience on a question of policy that a specific course of action should or should not be taken. It also says at the end of the speech, the audience should know your attitude and your personal viewpoint on the topic. But we also need to know what the experts have to say on your topic as well, based on the research that you did. So it also says the goal is to invoke a reaction, mental or behavioral, from your audience. The speech requires a balance of emotional appeal and researched information, organized into a cohesive, logical, documented outline, and the emphasis is placed on citation of sources. And one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you attempt to persuade an audience that a specific course of action should or should not be taken on questions of policy. Now, there's a lot of very clear-cut things that need to be done with respect to that. I will say that a number of you had an impressive array of citations for sources in your outlines. Unfortunately, when you made statements in your speech, you failed to say where that came from, in many cases. Not all, but in many. And as a result, I found myself wondering, okay, did you make that up, or is that from some qualified person? Next thing, I'm in the academic world, and the mere fact that somebody here has a PhD, in my mind, does not make them an expert. So when you say, Keith Klein, PhD, said, my first question is, what is he, or who is he, or what background does he have to be saying that in the first place? Okay? And remember, the other part of this is that the mere fact that something appears on the internet does not make it a valid source. Lots of tests in this speech, and it's kind of interesting to see how some of you responded to those tests. And I thought that was very interesting, that there were many times when I'm sitting there saying, okay, says who, where did you get that, etc., etc. The other thing that I found very interesting was the emotionless presentation in many respects. And that doesn't mean you have to pound the table and scream, but there's a certain passion about things that you're very, very involved with or very committed to. And that passion did not come across in many of the speeches. Passion means that you're not only urging me to do something, but you also have a kind of commitment on your part to not stop with this speech. You're going to make sure that whatever you're urging is something that you will carry with you throughout your life. All right. There was extensive information about what this speech was supposed to have, including visuals. Now, visuals are a problem in a speech where you're doing it online. I will tell you that. And many of you have found that lesson out the hard way. Visuals were kind of across the board lacking. They may be fine in a classroom where everybody can see everything, but when you are holding up an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and saying this is the visual, and you're not getting it on camera, or you're saying, as you can see here, and there are 5 or 6 bars on the graph, and I don't know which one you're talking about, it's fraught with possibilities. When you have a easel with a large chart on it, and you're referring to the information on the chart, I can't read it or even see it. I know it's an easel. I know there's something on it. I have no idea what you're talking about. Those are problems. The time requirement, 7 to 10 minutes. A fair number of you either went over or you went way under. Also, in filling time, some of you really did fill time. You didn't add anything to the speech. You were just actually filling time. Stalling is another way that you could say it. A speech of this nature has to be compelling. It has to be interesting. You have to put all of those things together we've been talking about all semester. Pitch, pace, tone, volume, silence. You have to have a passion. You have to convince me that what you're talking about, even if I don't favor what you're talking about, at least I am convinced that you are on whatever side you're coming from. Okay? The outlines, in some cases, were horrendously bad. They didn't do what they were supposed to do, and the speaker notes were equally problematic in some cases. And this time, when you sent things, you sent books. You didn't send a few pages. You sent books. I guess that pretty well does it. We've covered everything. Some of you had a little bit of a problem submitting this speech. I did not hold that against you in terms of the grade, because I graded all of them that got here only by the standards I've already discussed, not by what date you posted it, but whether or not you met all of the other qualifications. So let me say a couple of other quick things here. There are 90 points left on the table. 90. You've got 2 more discussion boards, you've got a 50-point speech, and you've got a test. All right? 90 points. If you will go to the grade sheet that will be posted and look at the final grade total points column and assume that you could get all 90 of the points, then you can add the 90 points to the number that's there, and you'll have a fair idea of what the final total point value for you in this class will be. And in that case, you'll have a good idea. In the syllabus, there's a posting that says what the final grade will be determined on the following scale, and it has that there. Okay? All right, let's get started. Ramsey spoke on the Army National Guard. Here's some points. Your visuals seem superfluous. I have no idea what they mean or represent. You have serving, classroom, and pay for college, and it doesn't, I'm not sure what you mean there. This was a very good outline. Don't start by making noise of clearing your nose. You know, you don't start your speech by going like that. All right. You need to talk with me, not at me. We've talked about that a lot. Your articulation was imprecise throughout. You look like you're reading a script and not talking to me. Again, you had the problem we've talked about many times in this class, knowing, helping, being, instead of knowing, helping, being, going, serving, all of that. And your posture and facial expression is blank, somewhat zombie-like, I noted. Relax. You come off in this speech somewhat like a drill sergeant, and that's not what we need where you're trying to convince me that I should be part of what you're trying to get me to be a part of. We're going to stop here and do another one in a minute. Okay, we're recording a test. Test, 1, 2, 3. Well, hello again. Let's talk real quickly about your persuasive speech and some of the things that you need to know about